Welcome to the Say Yes Show, where purpose meets action and one yes can change everything. I'm your host, Melony Buenger. Each episode here is designed to inspire bold action, meaningful momentum, and powerful transformation in your life. Throughout honest stories, behind the scenes conversation, and practical wisdom, you're going to hear from leaders who stopped waiting for the perfect time and started saying yes to the vision of their life. Joining me today is Micah Roberts, the Chief Empowerment Officer of Empowering Financial Coaching, LLC. After walking through her own financial challenges and discovering the power of support, accountability, and clear strategy, wow, how powerful those things can be, Micah became passionate about helping others do just the same. Micah brings a compassionate and practical approach to financial empowerment. Together with her husband, Charles, Micah helps individuals and families create personalized plans, build confidence, and move toward lasting financial success. Well, that sounds like such good stuff. And actually, I've known Micah for a long time. So welcome, Micah. I'm so glad to have you here. Why don't you tell us just where you're at in the world? I always love that because I just love how the internet and everything just brings us together.
I know. I am a born and raised Texan, but I find myself north of the Red River in Oklahoma because I married and fell in love with an Okie. So,
And that's one of the things I'm just going to say this. My dad actually was from Oklahoma, and he used to always say that he was an Okie from Muskogee. And
yes.
when I never really understood that, but I just always thought it was funny. Well, when I graduated from high school, I lived in Oklahoma and Broken Arrow just for about 3 or 4 months with my aunt and uncle. But I remember driving down the freeway and seeing the sign that said Muskogee, and I went, "Oh my gosh, there's actually a town named Muskogee." And it made so much sense why my dad always said he was an Okie from Muskogee, because I guess I just thought it was a song or something growing up. It was kind of funny. So,
We joke
anyways,
that tornado season is geography season around here because you get to learn all those little cities' names in between and beyond because of tornadoes.
tornadoes, yeah. Well, it's a beautiful city, and boy, I remember watching some of the thunder there when I
Mhm.
lived there. That is like when they talk about the thunder rolling or that kind of stuff, you don't really know until you see it. But
Yep.
those are some cool things. Okay, well, let's get down to business and just learn a little bit more about you. And I'm so excited to have you here on the Say Yes show. So, tell us, what are you currently saying yes to in your life right now?
Honestly, I'm saying yes to empowering financial coaching. For a while, or still to this day, I have a regular 9 to 5 job, and empowering is passion project for Charles and I. And over the last 6 months, I've really said yes to investing in what we do. I really believe that what we do changes lives, and I've seen it happen firsthand. And so just trying to not limit myself and really kind of jump in feet first to building what we have.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and I know as someone who's watching you, I just love to see that transition. I would say that, and somebody who has been watching you, you said yes from doing that all alone to inviting
Mm,
your husband to be a part of your journey with you,
yeah,
right?
yeah, 100%.
So
Yeah.
that's been fun to watch. What have you had to release because you've said yes?
Well, you and I both have a mutual friend, Suzanne Castle, and she is always telling us that done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
And in this whole journey, both as a CEO and an entrepreneur and building a business, I have had to let go of the perfect and really focus on, impact and people and momentum and all of that, which is difficult for me because I want you to have this nice little polished, perfect thing that I hand you, and life isn't always polished and perfect. Sometimes you just need somebody to sit with you in the messy.
Well, and I know that's one thing that you and Charles do, and you do it really well, but that everybody's financial situation is a little bit different. So it's not cookie cutter, I guess, is what
Nope.
like your guys' system isn't quite so cookie cutter in doing that. So that must be, a challenge. And also, but it is true, right? Like it's done. I always like to say, if you're doing one thing a day, you're moving forward, because I'm kind of a black and white person. As I'm wearing color today, like sometimes I just think in black and white, like I'm either doing this or I'm not. Like, I've really, like, I kind of go, I'm a person who says, I'm going to do it and I go all in, right?
Hmm.
But with life happening and there being, the messy in the middle stuff, like sometimes you just have to say, okay, I'm going to do this one thing. And if
Yeah.
you're working on one thing for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour a day, you're still moving forward. know? So,
Exactly. What we tell our, the clients that we work with is you don't have to figure out the whole plan. You just have to figure out the next best step. And it's also been kind of learning for me too, is because I really like a nice polished spreadsheet, but life doesn't always work in perfect spreadsheets and perfect lines.
yep, that's really true. Okay, so I think this is kind of a fun question, and especially when it comes to finances, because um, I think what looks shiny or polished from the outside does not always feel that way behind the scenes. So I think sometimes with our, with our lives, but also with our finances, it may appear one way, but behind the scenes, it may look different. So how have you helped people to adjust with that and to create some balance in their lives in that way?
Yeah, one of the most common things we hear is, "Oh, I'll connect with you or I'll coach with you when I have it figured out a little bit more." um, and we're always trying to encourage people like, no, like this is the whole reason we created this is because we've been there, we've done that, we know it's messy, we know it's bumpy, and you don't have to be scared to share in this safe space that it is all of that. And so really, the whole stigma and pressure and all of that around money even carries forward into, asking for help and working with somebody who's going to keep it confidential and safe space and all of that. There's still this thing that everybody's like, well, I don't know. They're going to know where my skeletons are and they're going to know how messy it is. And we've really just tried to encourage people to, share, be vulnerable. And honestly, we've had to model that. We've had to model that in sharing our own story and sharing part of the, bumpy, messy that we went through. And that in and of itself is, vulnerable and scary for us. And so there's both this kind of give and take to and fro.
Well, I think one thing that I will, if it's okay, that I'm going to share about you that I know is that you've worked a lot with nonprofits. You've worked a lot with different business people, but also different families.
Yeah.
And as well as, I'm not for sure what that little dinging is, but we'll just take this as to chime. Like those are like just special moments. She does this and she does this. But also I would say, you really honor people who walk with God. Right. And so I think that's another thing is that when you're doing that, it can look a little different. So, and you also know what it's like to have a blended family, right? So you're working through a lot of different things. I've heard you say some fun things about vacation. Can you give us one tip about planning for a vacation?
Oh, goodness. Well, Charles and I just got married, so we just planned the ultimate vacation, our honeymoon. And honestly, what we tell ourselves and what we tell our kids is you don't want the honeymoon or the trip to kind of come home with you. And so, we're big on, add joy, do the fun, do the thing, but also let's do it in a way that also allows you to do other things, save and plan and all of that. So my favorite thing is called a sinking fund or a planning fund where, you just put $10 or $20 in at a time. And then eventually you have enough to go on a trip.
I love that. Don't bring the vacation home with you. Like, you're going there to de-stress, so why bring more stress home? That's so good. I was like, oh, that's a good one. I like that. That's a fun little line. Okay. So what has been easier for you since you've learned to trust yourself? Because I know that you've been playing, a lot bigger and showing up in the world. You've got some different things coming on. So as you've been saying yes in bigger, bolder ways, which you have, and with Charles, and I just really want to honor you with that. What has become easier for yourself?
I mean, the moment that I said yes to myself and said, yes, I have worth, and yes, I have value, and yes, my opinions matter, and all of that, I think I was able to stand in rooms more confidently. I was able to say no more confidently. I was able to articulate the vision of what we're building here at Empowering more clearly because, it mattered and I said yes to it. I think one of the things that, you and I have shared, and I've shared with you my divorce journey, and part of that was really learning how to reclaim my voice and that it mattered. And not hiding and being small. And so when I say yes to myself, I don't know if you've seen Ted Lasso, but Rebecca like stands in front of a mirror and makes herself really big before she goes into a boardroom. And I feel like it's that energy that I'm able to bring into spaces that I am.
That's so good. Yeah. there definitely has been a shift in you, and I just really want to celebrate you for that because I think, it's amazing when we surround ourselves with people who are doing big things and the momentum that you can create together, right? And to be able to celebrate one another. So I just and I think even encourage people on one another on a day that's challenging because the truth is like sometimes it can be challenging, right? And
100%.
and in the messier end that it doesn't always look the way that we want it to, but I love that most of the time it turns out in a better way,
Yeah,
right? Just by,
absolutely.
and it makes our story so much stronger. Okay. So we've got these people on here today, and they're like, maybe they are one of the people that like, I will call you when it gets better, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about this now, or
Yeah.
maybe it's embarrassing for them, or they're just feeling a little unorganized. Okay.
hmm
Because I think there's different levels of that.
Yeah.
Um, so, what is one small yes that somebody listening today could do in their finances?
Um, we have built a little quiz on our website just for this purpose. So if you go to our website, empoweringfinancialcoaching.com, there's a little quiz there. It's 10 questions, and really it's about just doing a self-assessment of where you are with your finances. And so it asks, I know how much money I'm bringing in every month. I know where my bills are and those kind of things. And so, without even talking to a person, you can do a quick assessment of, okay, maybe I'm better than I thought, or maybe I have some work to do. And then, obviously we have resources there available for you, but sometimes it's just dipping your toe in the water to see where you are. That kind of gets that momentum going. Outside of that, honestly, the first thing I tell everybody is to get honest with yourself. Lots of times with money, we stick our head in the sand. We're like, it'll figure itself out. I won't look at the checkbook and, that means it's, not there and it's not happening. And I think the biggest gift you can give yourself is being honest with yourself about what money's coming in and what money's going out. And then our whole, methodology is aligning all of that with your values. And so, Melanie, you already mentioned it, like our values are very much faith-based. And so, but not everybody's are. And so we want to make sure that what you're doing with your resources aligns with whatever values you have in life and, moving that in a positive momentum.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I love your guys' heart. That's so good. Well, we'll be sure to put your link down below so that people can know how to go take that assessment because that's great. I always share I talk a lot about goals or God-sized goals. And in talking about goals, and I've done this for like 20 years, the whole truth is you have to be clear on your current reality. And I love that structural tension to be like, here's my current reality and here's where I want to be. And just having that tension in between with small micro steps in between to move the needle. And so that's a really great way for them to get clear. So thank you for sharing that resource. Okay. So go ahead. Were you gonna say something
No,
else?
I was going to say one of my favorite things, and I don't know who said it first, is, I worked 10 years, become an overnight success. We all see these famous people and all of a sudden they're overnight successes, but really what you don't see behind that is like the 10 or 15 years they were, riding on buses and working in clubs and all of that. And so I think it's very the same with your finances and with your life. Like you're doing all this work, right, in the background. And then one day, like you're going to have this breakthrough and everybody's going to be like, how'd you get it all together all of a sudden? And you're like, it's not all of a sudden. I've been working on it for a while. This is just kind of the, now culmination of it all. And so that's really what we try to encourage people to do is like, there is work behind it, but, there are breakthroughs that kind of, really make it all work.
Yeah, that's so good. Okay. Well, I know this is going to be on the podcast for a while, but I know you have, so what is the best way for somebody to follow you? Like on socials or
We are at Empowering Financial Coaching on almost every platform.
Okay.
So you can find us on YouTube, Facebook. We're Empowering Coach or Empowering Financial Coach on TikTok. We just got on TikTok. We're not hip and cool enough to really be there. Facebook, Empowering Financial Coaching. So yeah, we share all kinds of resources out there.
Well, we'll get all those links down below, and you guys can find those in the links down below on the show notes, so that you have that. But also, I really want to thank you for coming today, Micah. It's awesome. You guys, that one yes can make a big difference. I do want to just take a second because I know you have an event that's coming up.
Yeah.
And you're doing it in person, but you're now doing it live and virtual, which is going to allow a lot of people to join and be a part of that. So why don't we just go ahead and share that, so that if anybody's able to join you, they can do that.
Love it. Empoweringfinancialcoaching.com/summit is where you'll find it. Easy peasy. We were going to do a whole day live and in person, and then, we're financial people. And so we were watching the world around us, and plane tickets got more expensive and travel got more expensive. And people kept saying, I'd love to be there, but so we're going to be half day virtual this year on June 13th. And we have some lovely speakers, Jessica Leinford and Marty Winters, who are coming to talk about different perspectives on parenting and mindset. And then we're going to do a budget lab. All three of those kind of really wrap up into, leaving really empowered for the day with a great mindset and some new skills and a budget for yourself that works.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Micah, for sharing with us today. And I hope you guys picked up some golden nuggets from Micah. Make sure, if this spoke to you or it made you think of somebody who could be blessed by the services that Micah offers, make sure you please connect them. That would be great. And we'll catch you the next time on the Say Yes Show. And remember that one yes can change everything. Just make one yes today and make it matter.